They gave life and they took it away. 5 women sit on Alabama's death row, not for crimes against strangers, but for murdering their own children. These are the darkest cases of maternal betrayal you'll ever hear. Let's get into it. Patricia Blackman. Having been on execution row since August 2002, Patricia Blackman is currently the longest individual to have sat there. Calling 911 in May 1999, Blackman informed the operator that her 2-year-old daughter, Dominiqua, was no longer breathing. At 9:30 p.m., paramedics hurried to the site and reached Blackman's home. Later, a medical expert testified that he discovered the 2-year-old, who had been adopted by Blackman 9 months earlier, in the master bedroom, covered in vomit, in a diaper, and with blood-soaked socks. The 2-year-old was not breathing and had blood on her chest in addition to a hematoma on her forehead. Despite their best efforts, paramedics were unable to revive the child. Around 10:20 p.m., Dominiqua was taken to the emergency room of Flowers Hospital, where she was declared dead. The infant's many blunt force injuries to her head, chest, belly, and extremities were the cause of her death, according to an autopsy. In addition to several bruises, the child's chest even had the imprint of a shoe sole. Blackman's sandal from the night of the murder had the same pattern as the shoe. Following a search of Blackman's mobile home, police found the child's blood on a number of objects, including 2 napkins, a quilt, a bed sheet, a child t-shirt, and a broken pool cue. By a vote of 10-2, Blackman was found guilty of the capital murder of her kid and given the death penalty. Tiara Capri Gobble. Because she killed her baby boy, Tiara Gobble has been on Alabama's execution row since 2006. The crime happened in December 2005 when Gobble's 4-month-old son, Phoenix Parrish, was taken to the Southeast Alabama Medical Center's emergency room. Hospital staff made every effort to revive the baby, but they were unsuccessful. According to court filings, the infant passed away soon after being taken to the emergency hospital because he was not breathing and had no pulse. The baby died from blunt force injuries to the head, which apparently cracked his skull, according to an autopsy conducted by the staff. He also reportedly suffered fractures to his wrist, ribs, and arm, in addition to injuries to his face, head, neck, and chest. Additionally, the doctors saw a tear in his mouth, which appeared to be the result of a bottle being pushed into his mouth. The boy would have been in excruciating pain from any of the many injuries, according to the doctor who saw him when he first arrived. The police records state that Gobble gave birth to her baby in 2004 and had him taken away by the Florida Department of Children and Families within 24 hours. The DCF had taken her first kid away and placed her in the custody of her paternal uncle in 2003. It seems that Gobble and her then boyfriend, Samuel David Hunter, had moved in with her uncle and son around the time of her son's murder, despite the fact that she was under a court order to avoid contact with her kids. Gobble had signed an affidavit stating that she would be relinquishing her parental rights, therefore the move was permitted. The process of obtaining her parental rights started a few days prior to her son's passing. An officer with the Houston County Sheriff's Department reported that Gobble was arrested and was being questioned on the death of her kid shortly after the youngster was declared dead. Gobble allegedly claimed that she might have fractured her son's ribs by holding him too firmly and that the boy's head might have been hit when he accidentally crashed into the side of the crib. By accusing Hunter of being violent and controlling, Gobble tried to link him to the murder and said that she was scared to speak up when she saw the bruises. But the state produced a letter from Gobble saying, "It's my fault that my son died, but I didn't mean for it to happen," during her cross-examination. Gobble was later found guilty of capital murder by the jury. By a vote of 10-2, they also suggested that the woman be given the death penalty. Lisa Graham. Because she hired a man to kill her own daughter, Graham has been on death row since 2016. Documents show that Graham said her life had been destroyed by her daughter, Stephanie Shee Graham. Lisa reportedly stated, "If I could kill her myself and get away with it, I would," according to court records. Shee had been arrested for cocaine consumption, stripping, and taking part in a drive-by shooting before the murder. The family paid the $100,000 bond and then hired a lawyer. Just a few weeks before Shay's court appearance, Graham allegedly offered a neighbor $5,000 in exchange for killing her daughter. Graham was overheard discussing how to murder her daughter and how to clean up the murder scene with her neighbor, Kenneth Walton. Before the murder, the two allegedly met in the Columbus Public Library, where Walton obtained the revolver from Graham, and she gave him the keys to her vehicle. Shay was lured to a racetrack patrol station by Walton, who told her he would give her a car so that she could run away. Walton drove to a remote location on Bowden Road close to Pittsview so Shay could use the restroom. He shot her twice in the head while she was going. When Walton and Graham reunited, he returned the gun to her and she handed it to her father to clean. Walton, however, later admitted to the murder and disclosed Graham's involvement. Graham's husband, Kevin, recorded the conversation without Walton's knowledge. When asked about her involvement in her daughter's murder, Graham informed officials that she was only joking. Graham was found guilty of murder and given the death penalty. Heather Levell Katon. Since 2015, Katon has been on Alabama's death row after being found guilty in the deaths of her stepchildren, Chase and Natalie. When Katon was a college student in 2008, she started dating John Joseph DeBlas, a divorced father of two. After taking a leave of absence from school in 2009, Katon moved in with her new partner and his kids. DeBlas's mother claims that problems started when she observed Katon's methods of correcting the kids. When Katon put the children in timeout, according to court filings, she would duct tape their arms together and cover their mouths with the tape as well. After being told to leave the house by DeBlas's parents in 2009, Katon moved to her hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, leaving her partner and his children behind, only to return in December. Since Katon was expecting DeBlas's child, the family chose to move in with her shortly after. The manager of the Peach Place Inn, where the family was temporarily evicted, said that Chase and Natalie always looked pale and sickly. DeBlas's friends said that Katon would refer to his children as demon spawns from hell and the spawn of Satan. She even allegedly stated that she was concerned that they were going to be jealous of the unborn child. The family relocated to an apartment owned by Katon's mother, Helena, following the eviction. The mother claimed that neither of the kids was present. The children were in Las Vegas with DeBlas's family. Helena stated that she heard the conversation shortly after the relocation that caused her concern. Katon disclosed that both of the children had been dead for months when questioned about it. According to her, Natalie purged up some black stuff and her breath smelled like death prior to her passing. She begged her partner to take his daughter to the hospital, but he refused, according to Katon. She also claims that after locking Natalie in a closet for 6 to 8 hours, they brought her outside to the woods and performed some sort of CPR after discovering that she was unconscious. Katon said that Chase experienced the same thing. When asked why she didn't report anything, Katon said her boyfriend told her he would kill her and she was afraid for her life. She was eventually arrested for child abuse. A few days following his girlfriend's detention, DeBlas was also taken into custody. He told investigators that he was blinded by love and that he had strangled his children to death because of the suffering that Katon was causing them. DeBlas eventually led authorities to the graves of his children. Katon was convicted in 2015 of careless manslaughter in relation to Natalie's death and capital murder in connection with Chase's death. The jury found the crime particularly heinous and decided to sentence her to death by a vote of 11 to 1. John DeBlas is also on death row awaiting execution. Christy Michelle Scott. She was convicted of killing her 6-year-old son, Mason. According to court documents, Mason was in the boys' bedroom when the fire started, while Christy and her 4-year-old son, Noah, were sleeping in the master bedroom. Scott's husband, Jeremy, was not in town at the time. Jennifer Davidson, a neighbor, claims that when her doorbell rang at 2:30 in the morning, she opened it to discover Scott and Noah fully dressed. Davidson said that once Scott informed her that Mason was still inside, she dialed 911. According to documents, firefighters could only get a few feet inside due to the strong smoke and flames. It took them multiple sweeps to locate Mason's remains after putting out the fire. Scott's father, Donald Bray, eventually showed up at the scene and yelled, "What the hell have you done with my grandbabies?" According to fire officials, the electrical outlet behind Mason's bed was absent, and the fire appeared to have started in the boys' bedroom. Outside the bedroom, authorities also discovered a disabled smoke detector, adding that it appeared to have been taken out by force. According to a state fire marshal's officer deputy, the fire was started on purpose. Scott was questioned by deputies following the incident, and she said that she attempted several times to go back inside for Mason, but was prevented from doing so by the neighbor's boyfriend. The boyfriend, however, Brian Copeland, denied the claim, saying that Scott never tried to return to the burning building. Mason had also somehow consumed amphetamines, codeine, and promethazine before the fire, according to a toxicology assessment on the child. Scott never displayed emotions concurrent with those of a grieving parent, as stated by multiple witnesses who testified during the court hearing. These witnesses also said that Scott actually stated at her son's grave that she wished to attempt to conceive another child. A jury found Scott guilty of killing her son in the ensuing legal struggle, and she was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. A different court, however, reversed the sentence and gave her the death penalty. Scott had purchased a $100,000 life insurance policy on her son 12 hours before his death. Mason had been diagnosed with multiple psychiatric disorders, including autism. Each of these cases leaves behind a trail of heartbreak, questions, and the chilling reminder that the people we trust most should sometimes be the ones we fear. What do you think drives a mother to commit the ultimate betrayal? Let me know in the comments.